So we have one more minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so it is 11. We'll go ahead and get started. So hi, I'm Jocelyn, and actually I'm going to pop up the screen so I can see, at least that you can see us waving. So the whole team's here. We have a cute little background, but really quick before we get into social media in programming, we're going to discuss what FABLOW is, because that's a common question we get in general. So, and who we are. So hi, I'm Jocelyn. I'm the county extension agent out of Frio County, and we do have a map a little bit to give you an idea where we're located. But Drew and Jessica and Nicole are here. Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica Fabian, and I'm the Bandera County extension agent.
Hi, good morning. Hi, I'm Nicole Zimmer. I'm in Wilson County.
And hi, I'm Drew Benavides, and I am in Atascosa County.
If you want to go over FABLOW really quickly.
Yeah. Okay, so FABLOW AgriLife. We are a multi-county collaboration. We have Atascosa County, Bandera County, Frio County is Jocelyn, and then I'm in Wilson County. So as family and community health agents, we have this common goals of making, helping our fellow Texans better their lives. So that's our education programs based on the healthy living, cooking, making sure that our community is staying healthy. So we have a Better Living for Texans program, and that's our SNAP Ed audience. So that's where we started at, was that particular audience. Now, I want to tell y'all that family and community health, we were previously the family consumer sciences, and then we just had a title change. So we still have the same audience and our same goals. We just have a title change on that. So.
So really quick about us, it's been an evolving process. So FABLOW, the title itself was an inside joke at first. So if you can see in 2016, we made this collaboration and we were FABLO. And that was the same counties. It was Frio, Atascosa, but the county, and then Live Oak. And then in 2018, we started getting some traction and we started to know who we were. And then we added Wilson County. So we ended up being FABLOW. And then in 2019, one of our members, June, she switched to Dimmitt County and she still wanted to be part of this collaboration. So we added a D. So we're FABLOWed. And then it's just been an evolving process. And then in 2020, Jessica relocated, but she still had a B. So it went from B County to Bandera. And then of course, 2021, that's when the whole pandemic and everything arose. But the inside joke is that if we ever add or we switch counties, it's going to be FABLOW Plus. But yeah, it's an evolving process for sure.
Also, we're not. Also, we're not changing it anymore because everybody knows this is FABLOW, so it's not changing.
If someone in the comments can just see if you can hear us, rather than muting and unmuting, because we're right next to each other. Yes? No? Can you check the chat?
Can everybody hear us with one mic?
Okay, hopefully you can. If not, feel free to put that in the chat. But in general, we're best known for our online education. We do a lot. We're best known for our social media program from Facebook, but we do have a podcast. We do emails, and we have a Facebook group and a YouTube page. where we do videos. That one's not as popular, but all our curriculum, like Rethink Your Drink that we're going to talk about today, is on there. And then we do have a Pinterest page where we do put all our curriculum so everyone can access. So now this is why you're here. We're using social media for programming. So this is what we did. We did our walk and talk program, Rethink Your Drink. It was a team effort. It took a lot of coordination, and let's get into it. So what ended up happening, I bet you everyone throughout the nation was in this point, but it just so happened because we were always talking to each other that we were all doing the same program at the same time. And we're using my county as an example because I just so happened to take pictures. But in late March, we were just doing our walk and talk program. We had a kickoff. I teamed up with our local WIC program, and we had a walk to wellness. And then within the next day, we were in shutdown mode. And we're like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? How are we going to keep this going? And like, I called my friends. Luckily, we're a team, but we're also friends. And we, Jessica.
An idea was born. So we didn't want to recreate the wheel, of course, and we want to make sure credit is given where it's due. A group of agents had done this Facebook program called Working on Wellness, and it was an excellent 6-week program that they conducted through Facebook. They even added an ag component as well. So they talked about like where our food came from as well. So it was really, really great. And so we wanted to make sure we gave credit where it was due because they did an excellent job with that program. And so we just wanted to take that and just kind of put our own little flair on it and see if it would work for us.
So it did, but we came up with the idea and we're like, hey, we need to keep in connection with our community. How do we keep talking to them and make that connection? Because everybody was in isolation. So we thought about it. We did it in 2 weeks, and then we marketed just for a week, but the program lasted 8 weeks. And it was like serious talking back and forth and making sure everything was getting done for those 8 weeks. So
but what's nice about this is an 8-week program. It's hard to do an 8-week program by yourself. That's where our team came in, because we all had our weeks that we were responsible for.
So it made it fun and easier, and really Jocelyn kept us on track.
Yes.
It also gives us it gives us a breather, because sometimes programs can be very demanding if you don't have the assistance, and like at the time, if you have your volunteers or your whoever helps you, that's great, but we're in lockdown, you can't have them, right? So it was good to have this awesome, I love my team, my friends, so I'm very grateful for that. But let's get into the nitty-gritty.
So we did this Facebook group. We kept it private, and that was so it could be controlled. We could keep out the spammers, because that's really important. We wanted to make sure we had a positive group if they were going to comment or have any posts to share. And so that's why we did that controlled group. We were also able to market to specific audiences that we wanted to market to, and then also make sure that they were in our specific counties. And so one of the questions we asked when they joined the group was what county they're in, so we could accurately keep track of where everybody was. And that way we had a good list to go by. We also did our surveys through this Facebook group. So we used Qualtrics for pre and post, and it was either a link or they could scan the QR code and it took them directly to our survey. So we were still able to incorporate that into our program.
I also want to add that it's really important if you do create a Facebook group to keep track of those people who add, because we also had to make the decision of whether, because we have Pacific counties, but we had other people from other counties who wanted to join. So we also had an other, and we made sure to keep track of those other participants. And when it comes to reporting, that's a decision you have to talk to your regional manager on how you're going to report that, but we'll talk about that later too. But it's making sure you keep track of those people. And even for the program, luckily they never left the group. Maybe they didn't participate with likes and comments, but they didn't leave the group. But we'll also talk about what we're doing now, and we're keeping track of who is leaving the group or who's staying. But it is important to create that, and we keep everything on an Excel chart of keeping track of those members and everything.
to help with reporting.
I think it's important to point out that we did have to decline people.
That's you.
And that was a lot of discussion between the four of us on declining, because you never want to decline somebody you don't know. But if it was somebody that we just really, it was kind of out in left field, we did have to decline some people. But that's a hard decision.
I think we also had to make this decision because we also asked for their email, because we have to make sure if you're not responding for our post, we still need to email you our surveys, because that is required for us as a research space. And so if you didn't put that email, we would message them saying, hey, we need you to give us your email, and if not, we can't accept you. So it's also making those individual contacts to make sure they are a human being and not spam or a robot. You just never know.
So essentially that, like when we go to programs face-to-face, we have a sign-in sheet that they have to fill out. So that's essentially our sign-in sheet to keep track of who's participating in the group.
Yes. Oh, so yeah, this is my, so when it comes to the content calendar, I will say we do have another program called Dinner Tonight, and you can find us. And we use this example with the Dinner Tonight program of keeping track of everything. So I applied it with our team, and I also color coded it because that's me. But the whole point is to make sure we didn't overlap. So on Facebook group, you need to know your social media platform. And on Facebook, when someone goes in and schedules, like everyone can schedule within their own profile, but I can't see what Jessica schedules and vice versa. So to make sure we know who's scheduling what, we made this calendar, and I made everyone tell me when they were going to schedule out. So we're not overlapping on everyone's schedule or everyone's post. So not everything's being posted at 12. And so we wanted to make sure everything was posted at a certain time, so nothing got overlapped and everything got seen. So we made this content calendar on Microsoft Outlook. So that's what we use in Texas. Of course, whatever one that you use, I know Google's also just as popular. So whatever program that you use, you can do the same thing. But we made a content calendar and we updated it, and you don't need to color code it, but I like to color code it.
It really was helpful, the color coding, because I knew I was the green or whatever color I was at the time. And I would just look and be like, okay, this is my week and this is what I'm scheduling. And so it was really helpful.
But it also broke it down. So we're also going to go over, but we had weekly lessons and daily breakdown lessons. So we had video lessons. I have it as a point. So talking about participation, we're also going to go into that, but since it's on a bullet point, that was another question we get like, how did you get the participation? Yes, you got your registration, which is accepting them into the group, but how do you make sure they saw that lesson? So Facebook group, private group, and even group in general has this feature where you can see who's seen a post. So we would keep track of that, and that was the people who participated in the lesson. And we'll talk more about that on another slide. And then just like we mentioned earlier, we have a lot of social media platforms the one that we mostly maintain is our Facebook group. I'll admit to that one, and our podcast. But we also created a YouTube playlist. So all our video lessons at the end, we put it in a playlist so we can share and they can see it at any time they would like. And then we also had a Pinterest board. So all our sources that we used and posted on the Facebook group, we made a Pinterest board. And the reason for that is because at the time, we weren't sure if we were going to continue this group. And we didn't. We ended up creating a new group for the following year. And that was the decision, because we wanted to make sure they still had the information they wanted to use, all our curriculum, all our resources, that they can still use it at any time that they wanted to. So we put it on a Pinterest board so it was accessible for everybody. Yeah.
So like Jocelyn hinted just a little while ago about our content breakdown. And so this really, really, really helped us stay on target.
Can you talk about a little bit?
Sorry. This helped us stay on target, and it helped, that way participants knew what to expect each day. So they knew Monday was Mindful Monday, Talk Tuesday, Workout Wednesday. So they knew what to expect throughout the whole week of the daily post breakdown. And then also, like Drew was saying earlier, over the 8 weeks, we each split the content for that week. And so we each had our own week. And basically, if you can see on the lesson breakdown, that was just the curriculum of how it's broken out, like if you were doing it in person. And so we took our week and we did that educational content.
I will add for the daily breakdown, the reason why we did that, because on social media, you have to post something every day. Otherwise, you're going to lose your audience. So if you had multiple posts, that's fine, because that's what we scheduled out. But you need to post something every day. And our curriculum, in general, in person, we meet once a week. But online, you can't do that because you need to keep track of those people. So that's why we had those daily breakdown posts of what we were posting to keep them interested and want to be part of everything. Oh, video content. So this one, I'll admit, took a lot of coordination and it took a lot of time on my part because I was the editor. I'm the one who put everything together, but it was a lot of constant communication. So at the time, our first year doing this, which is the one we submitted for this program, for the award packet, is that we did not do that many lives. All our lessons were pre-recorded and we did voiceovers, and anytime you do that, you have to have coordination. And we did every lesson a week in advance. So lesson 1 had to be due the week before. At this time, I had to have your voiceover. Then I had to put all the images and graphics together with it. And yes, we do have that handout and information in our curriculum, but putting it in a video is a whole different format. So giving yourself that time. So I say it was a week in advance, but really it was 2 weeks in advance because you have to record a week, then submit it by my deadline, 14. And then I had to edit and have it released on the day, on that Talk Tuesday, which was our lesson of the day. So it took a lot of coordination, but it was well worth it. And we'll talk about what we learned in the future, but for sure in the future, we do lives. It's so much easier.
Yeah, and we did the recording because mostly we were scared to do the lives. They're very intimidating,
Yes.
and you really have to lay everything out and have everything set up because you're live. And as for Jessica and Jocelyn, they were way more comfortable with it than Drew and I. But we're getting there. We're trying. We're trying to be comfortable with the live.
They're good. They just don't. It's a confidence. They know it.
So
It's not our favorite.
no, it's not. We'd rather talk to people face to face, not live on a video anyway. So,
So participation.
okay, so participation. This is my slide. We had should we say the daily breakdown to help increase the users doing live things. They like the live engagement rather than the recordings that we posted. When they participated in by liking a comment, commenting on something, we would take their name and put it into a wheel of names and then pick a winner every week. And then we would just ask for their email, their mailing address, and mail them a little prize. Say thanks for participating in our program. Kind of like what we would do using our incentives at a face-to-face program, like when we're out in the community. So go to the next slide.
Well, really quick, I was going to say on the right, you'll see this is a post that we created for them to understand ways to participate. So when we had our 1 week of marketing, when people were joining, we were telling them what they were going to get. So we had a day like, you're going to have daily breakdown posts, you're going to have weekly lessons, you're going to have to participate, and this is your ways to participate. So we had this all posted a week before the actual timeline of when we started lesson 1. But more into participation.
So
I don't know where that
we
came
would,
from.
so we would ask that, where'd you go?
I don't know. Hold on. Sorry. Hiccup. Okay, go.
So asking those open-ended questions like Thirsty Thursday, how much water did you drink today? And also, as you know, the group, us 4, making sure that we got on there and we commented to encourage others to comment in the program, because once they see the question and they see that we commented, then usually they'll get back on and comment what they did. And then the next picture is just like a picture of the wheel of names that we did. And you just go in there and type in their names or copy and paste the names on there. Promoting those Facebook Lives as an event. So it pops up on their Facebook and says, hey, come join us live at 10 a.m. for our cooking demo, and then asking the polls. So those were different ways that they could participate and get their name thrown into the wheel of names and then potentially get a little prize.
But I also want to comment about us commenting, like we had us going in there and go, how much water did you drink? We also were very honest with them, because some days if we didn't have that much water, and that prompted other people to go, okay, yeah, I haven't either. So it's not like, oh yeah, they're getting their 10,000 steps and I don't feel like I should put that I have only had 2,000 today, you know? So we were honest with everybody too.
Yeah, real life, because
because that's what we all live in.
Yeah, and
We
you can't like set the bar like super high where they can't meet it, because that's not how we are. I mean, some days it's just not possible. So just keeping it real with them.
The friendliness, and we're all about community of positivity. So even if you have those one comment or post that they're like, I just didn't feel, or you'll see the sad emoji and it's like, no, we want to motivate you. So we motivate each other in those comments and posts as well. And random fun fact, our popular from all these activities was always Thirsty Thursday. They love the open-ended questions. So just every community is different. Definitely know your audience, but that was just, we definitely use a lot of open questions now because that's what our community likes.
I thought the poll would be better, but the poll really wasn't that. It wasn't really popular.
It wasn't popular. I guess people don't like to click.
Yeah. Or maybe you just don't want to admit to yourself that you've done that. I mean, like the less than 10,000, I'm sorry.
So lessons learned from our first year of doing this was that definitely create more live videos. You get more, the users, first of all, they get a notification when you go live, they'll get a pop-up. And then second, it does increase participation and retention. And what we noticed this year, because we do a lot more live, is that you start noticing your audiences. Like you make those connections, you know the person who's going live. And like, I really feel like we know our our audience now, because they're always commenting and they're always participating and they're always joining. So I feel like I do know our people. Compared to the first time around, because it was pre-recorded, we didn't get to hear it. We didn't get to really get to know them as much. And that's really hard to do online, is to get to know your participants online. So I recommend lives. We like lives now. So that's something you should consider in the future. But I know in our agency in Texas, we do have a set of guidelines that we do. It's called Cooking with Confidence, but you can use that with any lesson. But definitely talk to your agency to see if you have guidelines. When it comes to video lessons, if you are going to pre-record, I definitely it's time consuming, but coordinate and make sure you have those dates. And I was on them. If they didn't have that video recording of the day I needed it, they got a call from me. So having those deadlines.
She was nice about it.
I think I had coffee. But yeah, it's making sure you have it and getting it in advance so you're not rushing everything. But again, this whole program, the first time around, was rushed. So I'm very proud that we got to get everything done nicely and well done, because we did it within the week to get it released and published. Another thing that we definitely recommend is market it for more than a week. This year,
like anything.
The first year was 1 week. If you can do it at least a month in advance, you're definitely going to get more participation. So we have, and it's been a growing process this year.
I want to comment on the live videos. One of the things that was really popular, because we did walk and talk, is when we would go and we would just hold our phone and we would go for a walk. We had more people join in and comment on just our little walks as we're talking, basically, to yourself as you're walking. And we had more on that than anything else. And I think it was just people like seeing you outside. Like I would go to the park, or I know sometimes Jocelyn just walked in place in her, sometimes she went walking with her dog and, like a sunrise walk or something. And we would just walk, and it was like a 2-minute, maybe even thing, but that seemed to get a lot of participation.
It did.
And then our videos for cooking, even live, they seem to watch those later.
That's true. I will say, when you do a walking live, I know that's not part of our first program, but it is part of our second program, or how we improved this program, is that still have talking points, and we still had lessons to go over. So even I will say, don't walk with your dog and the phone. That was hard. Lesson learned on that one. So that would definitely never happen again. But I had talking points, and it was talking about how to be prepared and sun safety. So having different little mini lessons in there still gets their attention. And the last thing we learned for using social media is tagging your participants. Especially on Facebook group, you can tag your participant, or anything on Facebook. You can tag someone on Facebook, and that definitely gets them a notification. So if they won on a weekly raffle, we tag them to make sure to know, like, hey, you won, and we need your address. But their address was always sent in a direct message, or they would email us. Yes, we always want to keep that confident. Private.
Confidential.
There you go. That's the word I meant. So we adapted for this year. Who wants to talk?
So we adapted for this year for, we kept the group going is what we did. So we did again, we started a new group. We did walk and talk fruits and vegetables this time. And then when that was over, we wanted to keep the group going and keep them engaged. And so maybe we didn't have a program going on, but we did challenges. So like you can see, April was a walking day challenge. So we would post everything and then it would just be a daily post. On these daily posts, we also tried to add some other fun things, maybe, just like a positive quote or something, just to keep them engaged. And then like Jocelyn said about reusing those videos that she made in September, we redid the hydration. It was all about hydration. So we just try to keep them going and try to keep them engaged.
And then what works for us, of course, everyone's going to be different. We do it by the month. So February, March was our 8-week program. So that whole 2 months was that walk and talk, the fruit and vegetable. Mm-hmm. And then so far it's been a monthly, every month has been either a different challenge or a different program. So in August, we had another program. It was a 4-week series. So we were able to do it within a month. So doing a little mix of both, and it also keeps them engaged, and they like to do the different challenges. They like to see the different programming because it also just motivates them. I think the one that got a little challenging was in May, because we did Mindful Living, Mindful May, which is an outreach program that we have. But then we also had a kickoff with Walk Across Texas in our agency. It's a physical activity program similar to Walk and Talk. And so we're doing 2 programs and keeping them engaged. So that went back to our coordination and making sure we didn't overpost and doing the different time slots. But we're really good at texting each other and be like, switch your time.
The communication, I think, was key. Like, we text each other, call each other, whatever, like, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. And if something needs to change, then we change it.
So in general, we've presented this in a few, in Texas within our agency. We've presented this in a few different conferences and trainings. And these are just some common questions that have come up, the themes. So we're going to go over them. And of course, at the end, we're going to take questions as well. So, but reporting was a common question.
Yes. So we got asked if all of us were counting the same numbers and over-reporting, I guess, and the answer is no. So at the beginning of the Facebook group, we asked what county they're from. And so we are only counting your own numbers for your county. And so for Bandera, I only counted who selected that they lived in Bandera County. And so that way we weren't over-reporting, we weren't doing anything that we weren't supposed to be doing on reporting wise, but it really helps all of us just with the Facebook group, just to really make sure that we had what county they were from. And we've had a couple from different counties show up on there, and so we're working on what to do on those.
We've actually had people from other states too this year. Last year we didn't, but this year we did have some people from out of state too. So we definitely can't count them in reporting, but we welcome you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're here to educate.
So really quick about our audience. So BLT audience for us is considered SNAP Ed. So anyone in the nation who has a SNAP Ed audience, and sometimes you have, I say stricter, and you can correct me, guidance of how you have to implement programs. So for us, when it comes to our BLT audience and general audience, we'll just say, make sure to talk to your SNAP Ed manager or leader to tell you what you can do and what you can't do. We always keep our person in the loop. So when we're reporting and making sure it counts for the SNAP Ed audience, we're reporting it correctly.
I would say teamwork was really important with us all. Of course, y'all all know you work with different people, and sometimes you work better with some people. And so we're all friends. We become friends, and that has helped because we kept saying, a lot of coordination. So with always having, your phone going ding, 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 because it's our group, you can't get irritated about that because, it's about, it's sometimes it's personal stuff. And then sometimes because you become so close because we're working so close to each other, but we feed off each other. For example, 2020, I didn't even have Facebook. So yes, I know, whatever. So they do a lot of holding my hand on stuff, on technology. Okay. But we can also feed off each other, and where I can bring something else to the table that that they maybe not be so strong with.
Yeah, so like Drew was saying, we all have like our different interests. Like, you know, I'll talk a little bit more about nutrition stuff. Drew is like really big in the physical activity, so she can bring that to the table. Jocelyn and Jessica, like they're good with the social media and all
And the
of
cooking and the-
cooking and like all of that. So they're over here to me. So we all have our different little niche that we bring to the team and make this work.
And so we have that respect level for each other.
And it's fun. We're
So-
fun people.
Talking about teamwork is the responsibility. So I'm definitely, I guess you can say, the editor or publisher, making sure all the graphics are nicely done. I'm particular.
She would be the lead.
Yeah, but when it comes to the ideas and the monthly challenges, it's them. They come up with like, hey, we should do it this month. We should do the walking challenge, or we should do this program. And it comes from them. And again, Nicole, the whole team is really good at knowing their curriculum. I usually have to review it to make sure I get it out, but so we all have a different responsibility and we do it. And this is also including the other things we were talking about at the beginning, like we also coordinate on the podcast and we usually make sure it goes with the theme of the month. And then the same thing with our newsletter to make sure it goes with the theme of the month. So we put our newsletter, our podcast, and everything we create within the group as well. So everything we create, we make sure our audience or our group, the Facebook group, get it online. And then a last question that also gets asked a lot is, how do you get collaborating? And we all can maybe talk about different points, but I will say it's work with someone you want to work with, right? Because I love them, but sometimes, you know, personalities can crash. And I know when Jessica first came into FABLOW had started, and the first B County agent, she had left. And then Jessica came in and we did give her the option and say, you do not have to be part of FABLOW.
But I love them. I had to.
But we make sure that like, we don't force it upon anybody. If you want to collaborate. If you want to give yourself a name, we did it as a joke, but it stuck and we like it.
Oh yeah, like people like, hey, all the FABLOW group. We're like, hey, yes, that's it.
So it's
Just because we're FABLOW. Yeah.
But we also like to think it just makes it more fun. Like, you know, putting a name to it. They know that we're this county collaboration and we pride ourselves because we're all from rural communities. So like having these resources for a rural community is really, I say amazing because my county is really proud of all the things we're doing because you don't see that in a rural community. You usually see it in an urban setting. So, but any tips for how to collaborate? Anyone else?
You know, the thing is, you don't even have to be close to anybody. So with one thing that this has all taught me, that we have all these resources now with technology, you could do it with somebody, even in a different state to collaborate. You can go to somebody we could go with somebody from North Texas if we wanted to, or South. And so with this, as long as you're talking to each other, we're close enough where it's fun that we can meet each other in person and we can do that now. But, you know, if you couldn't, then there are ways that you can actually collaborate with technology now. So it doesn't matter where you are.
And you can use anything to help communicate. Like you said, we have Microsoft in our state, but if you use Google, that's a good source. If you like Facebook or Canva or any, there's a lot of software platforms that you can use what works for you. So the takeaway is, it's doable. Anyone can do this for sure. It is a team effort. I couldn't do this without them. I'm very, like, again, they're my support team. They calm me down. They also make sure the program is what it is. It's been a successful program because it's of you know, all our tasks that we do together. But I will say you don't have to use Facebook. We use Facebook because we like the features. We knew the features. And also the control setting because you can do private. But you can do this in any social media platform that you are comfortable with. And I'm going to stress that. So if you're going to do this on another social media platform, make sure you know that platform. You know the features, you know everything about it, because otherwise it's just not going to work. Planning is definitely key. You got to plan it out. I mean, we used that content calendar and we planned it out to make sure that it looked okay and that everything was built. And then implementing especially online. I think an oversight that a lot of people don't think about, but online programming can even be more time consuming than an in-person program, because you got to think of the little details. You also have to constantly keep up with the comments and the participation, because you'll lose your audience otherwise, but it's constantly keeping them active and posting and being aware of everything.
That was hard for me because I wasn't on social media. So I didn't just sit there on my phone and scroll and look and do. And now I'm like, okay, I have to do this. And so sometimes I can catch myself even on the weekend, like, oh, okay, I need to go to Facebook and comment on something. And the one thing about Facebook I like is you can schedule everything out. So you can schedule a month in advance. So I can schedule everything. Like I just scheduled our monthly challenges for November. I did it up till the very end because, and then I just have to remember to comment on them. And yes, that's my deal is I'm not very good at that.
But even scheduling can be time consuming.
Oh, yes.
So it's even if it sounds so simple, just remember, set some time for that, because it can take time.
Yeah, it took a lot of time.
Yeah.
And especially if you're not that good at it like me.
But yes, so at this point, I don't have the chat back open. They do, but if anyone has any questions, we'll gladly answer some. We have about 10 minutes, I believe, left.
I know, I see a lot of y'all would like the slides, and we are going to do our best to
I will talk to William about that, because I don't know what he's going to do.
Okay.
But I will talk to Lil for everything.
But we have a lot of the ones that want it, and so we can send them to y'all.
Okay. Yes, we can probably
So
do that.
you can save that too.
Sure. I don't know.
Do you have any questions?
So are there any other questions besides, hey, you want the
seeing
slides?
Okay, hold on. You may not see my face, but okay. What's happening? Oh, can we copy and paste their email?
Yeah.
I think you'll see. Anyway.
Well, you know what, guys? You can go find us in our Facebook group. We are FABLOW AgriLife on Facebook. And then if you want to, or message us, and we can get your email there just in case we don't get to copy and paste.
So yeah, so go on Facebook and look for FABLOW AgriLife. And then
Yes, message us with that, and then we can put it in there. Well, also, this is where technology gets us.
I will admit, I know Facebook. I do not know Zoom.
We know Teams. We're not as good on Zoom, but I know we can take a picture and we can see this.
Yeah. So with the recording, I think we have to talk to William.
He is going to post the recording.
They will get that out to everybody.
Yes.
But do y'all have any specific questions about the social media programming?
I have a question.
Jocelyn does a really good job. She's the one that does all these slides. I'm sure you want them because they're so pretty. And she is very creative, and she puts all this together.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
More questions, but I think we have to stay on for the time. So I guess we'll be here. I guess you want to share any random stories?
I don't know if y'all can even like unmute to talk to us. Can y'all?
I don't know. Can we?
I don't. Her computer's
What is your Facebook participant reach?
Right now it's almost 100. So because they leave sometimes, because we've started in February, and then this year we kept it on and off. Last year, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I want to say it was about the same or maybe a little less.
I think it was just a little less. I think it was about 70 last year.
About 70.
Okay, yeah, because this year we've been getting a few people every month, so it's been adding, and then of course, unfortunately, some people leave. That also happens.
But we've also opened it up right now where they can post things if they want.
That's true.
They haven't done that, but as long as it's positive, we do have rules. If you go to our group, it's like the set of rules for it, and the main one is stay positive, where we don't want anything negative. Because with social media, sometimes people just take things wrong and it just ends up going negative. And we just wanted to make sure this was a very positive place, especially if you're just getting started with the right nutrition, if you're just getting started trying to drink more water or go for a walk or whatever you're going to try to do, that those first steps are very hard to take. We all know that.
So Julie, I noticed that, I noticed a while ago that you're unmuted, but I couldn't hear anything. So you just put a question up. Do persons over 55 connect with you on social media?
I want to say that's our demographic.
Yes.
My battery.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. If you lose me and Jessica, it's because my laptop's dying, but we're right next to Nicole and Drew. But yes, I want to say that's pretty much our target area. I want to say between 30 and 60 are the people on our Facebook group.
And then have we had to remove anyone?
Yes.
Yep.
I wouldn't say remove. I would say we didn't accept.
My kids think it's Facebook is for parents. Well, because now they're all on Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess
I have
Facebook.
to say, I don't get TikTok. You just go on.
But I will say this because we get asked this about youth. I still recommend I would make them get a Facebook because it's a private group. And if you're going to do with youth, at least you can protect them because it's private. We didn't do a youth setting, but that again, that's something you can talk about with your manager, RPLs. We call them RPLs, program leaders. So something you can have that talk with. But if you're going to do a youth program, I still recommend Facebook group because in a private setting because you want to protect them.
Yeah. Okay, so how much time would you say this took individuals per week, or what is the percentage of your work this involves? I think it depends on like what we're doing.
Like creating? Is that the question? Like how much scheduling?
I think us or for scheduling and stuff. At first, it was a lot of our time and a lot of, I would say 50% of our time going into it. But it was also COVID lockdown where we were trying to get out and reach. But now, since we're getting better at it, it doesn't take as much time because we can repost. I think one of the things we find different workout videos and we post them on there. Going live. The biggest thing to me is going live cooking because of like where you think about where you're cooking and cleaning everything and stuff like that. To me, and preparing, that would be the most. But we don't do that every week, and that's what helps. Is like we said. On those 8-week series, we all just were responsible for 2 weeks of that, which really helped a lot. And so it does. So it shared the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I will say the only thing that really is time consuming, and I am video proficient, but that still took a lot of time. Video editing on a good day can take 4 hours, and that's because I know what I'm doing. On a long day, like with the lessons, that took me 2 days because it's finding those graphic and images. Do you need a lot of graphics? Probably not, but I'm a visual person. And then think about your audience about, are they visual learners or would they rather see text? So it's making those decisions that can be time consuming too. But video editing in general can be very time consuming. So that's why this year we made the switch to do lives because it's still time consuming because you have to set up, but I don't have to do any editing.
For us, getting Jocelyn the content, and then she makes it look really pretty. She's very good on her the
visuals,
the graphics, all the things that she does. So it depends on our week
and
that. Oh, thank you.
No, we died.
Oh, I was like, my died. I was wondering, like, where did it go? Okay.
I think are we done with our party? I think we have 3 minutes.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, I have the screens. You're gonna see us. Sorry, guys, the slides
just
died.
See us now, kind of. Me. Anyway, any more questions? We much rather have been in person doing this instead of Zoom, but we're super thrilled that we had the opportunity to do it in general.
Thank y'all for joining too.
Yeah. And if y'all have any questions, again, look us up and FABLOW AgriLife and ask us anything else you want to know. Make sure to find us on Facebook. Yeah. Okay. Right? Do we stop the recording? Yeah. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You have this.
Yeah.